depending upon how this goes, depending upon whether or not they can win some games, and they got the Chiefs again pretty soon, and they got other games on the schedule that you look at and you say, it's going to be tough to win that one. Just something to consider, because every time the question comes up about a coach being out after 1 year, the first reaction is, oh, nobody does that. Then you look at the list of all the times it's happened. It's like, hell, that happens pretty often, grand scheme of things. So, again, I'm not saying it should. I'm not saying it could. I'm not saying it would. I guess I am saying it could. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, that it should happen. I just think it's one of those things that flickers on the edge of the radar screen, that if they keep losing games, it's at least a possibility, because we don't know enough about the Walton Penner Group to know whether or not they would say, hey, Sean, here's your $100 million parting gift. We just feel compelled to go in a different direction.
I mean, here's the reason why I don't think that will happen. Okay. You are the Walton family. You're Greg Penner, very high on the masthead of the Walton organization. You know, your other Waltons, obviously in this group. And so you ask yourself, you took over a team where you never even met this coach before, Nathaniel Hackett, and you see that it's spiraling out of control. So you make a change. And then you investigate, interview, and you decide that your guy is Sean Payton. You not only, trade for him, you trade significant draft capital for him. And theoretically, if you've got $80 million left after this year to pay Sean Payton over 4 years, and whatever the number is, it's something like that, you have to ask yourself, how exactly did you make all that money with the Waltons? What did you do? Just sit back and count it, put your feet up on the table, and just let it roll in? And, do you truly not understand this business where a lot of times, sometimes, the Walmart becomes Kmart. Walmart becomes Sears. Walmart becomes JCPenney. And what I'm saying is not that this great franchise, Walmart, is going to become any of those either failed or failing franchises, whatever is going on with them. What I'm saying is you didn't get to where you are. The perch of, this gigantic Fortune 500, 100, this Fortune 10 company, wherever they are on that list, by making knee-jerk decisions. This would feel particularly knee-jerk if you handed an employee $100 million or $90 million, whatever it is, if you handed him all this money and then said 11 months later, never mind.
Don't disagree with that. We just don't know how this group is going to react in this industry. This is far different from running a retail operation, because your wins and losses are very public. Score is kept in a very different way. And while you're making plenty of money, there's a different way of competing than they've ever experienced in their lives. All that matters at Walmart is making money. Making money is your Super Bowl. At the NFL level, all 32 teams are winning a financial Super Bowl, but only one is winning the actual Super Bowl, and 20 teams every year end up looking like they can't fight their way out of a paper bag because they can't make it to the postseason. It's just something to keep an eye on, because we don't know how these folks are going to be. But I will tell you this, and I've been saying this from day one, they are ruthless. And I don't mean that in a good way or a bad way. I just mean it as an observation. The folks who run Walmart are ruthless, and that's how they've gotten to where they are. Take no prisoners, never think twice, be resolute, make your decisions, analyze them ahead of time. Don't make rash decisions. But once they make that decision, they're not going to think twice about it, especially in a case like this, where if they do make that decision, Sean Payton's got a $100 million golden parachute that he escapes Denver with. So just something, as this thing goes the way it's going, with no sign it's going to turn around. And look, Payton admits he made the mistake last night. Good Lord, calling a timeout after third down. That's what does a coach do? What does any coach during the game? What do you do? Now, he calls the plays, so he's caught up in the micro, but we've said this time and again, you got to be able to balance the macro and the micro. You can't be so caught up in your play sheet and what the next play is going to be that you forget what down it is. He forgot what down it was. He admits it, to his credit. He forgot what down it was, called a timeout, and helped ensure that the Chiefs would be in position to kick a 60-yard field goal to get an extra 3 points in a game where those points mattered, given how sluggish the Chiefs' offense was. So, look, we're not doing our job if we're not at least saying, folks, don't be absolutely flummoxed and flabbergasted if this happens, because we don't know enough about this ownership group to know what they'll do, and we don't know how deep this hole is going to go. But through 6 weeks, Peter, it's deeper than they thought it was going to go.
I would be flummoxed and flabbergasted beyond that. And I'll just tell you why. You tell me right now, who's the golden child who's out there? Who's going to save my franchise? We just signed and hired the golden child. And you realize that it wasn't all Nathaniel Hackett's fault. That this team has some major issues. And so just because you hire the golden child coach, it doesn't mean those issues are going to go away. And I think the one thing that I would say to you and look, it's great to bring it up on October 13 at 7:30 in the morning Eastern time and just put it on the record like you never know. But the reason that's as absolutely as far as I would go is that all you're going to do, it's just like the end of Casablanca, where you're going to hear the, I'm forgetting his name, where you're going to hear the, the head of the gendarmerie in Casablanca tell his men, round up the usual suspects. Because that's all you're doing. Who's the miracle man out there right now? Who's going to come in and win you 3 more games next year than you really should? So, to me, this is a time where I will be shocked if the Walton Penner group does not exercise patience and say, we're taking the hits this year, and we want to see progress this offseason. And if that entails biting the bullet on Russell Wilson, then that's what we're going to do.
Hey, Bill Belichick might be available next year, although that name doesn't have quite the same sizzle that it had.
How does that help? I don't know. I don't know how that helps.
I'm trying to be funny on a Friday morning, but it doesn't help. That's not the direction that the Broncos should go if they decide to make this change. But again, we don't know. All we know about Broncos ownership is they fired Nathaniel Hackett after 1 season. And you can't get into that dysfunctional approach of firing a coach after every year. Fire a coach. You look like idiots before too long. Let's just see how it plays out. Let's just see how this season goes. But I think the 2 main focal points of potential change, three. Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, George Payton. I expect at most one of them is going to be back next year. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.